How difficult or easy it is for you to make $1 per day?
Right now it's very difficult. Let me say on a scale of 0 to 10, it's maybe a 4, because it's very difficult. Right now making that dollar, first of all, you will have to struggle for it. And when you're making that dollar again, you make it and it can't really help you improve your lifestyle that much. So it's very difficult. Yeah. Looking at how so much unemployment, so many people are unemployed, so many people can't afford to get any job. Like, people have the papers, but they cannot get that employment, so it is very hard to get that dollar. Yeah.
What are some of the challenges youths, you are a youth,
Yes.
some of the challenges you encounter when looking for employment?
So first of all, this is Kenya, and we know corruption is very rampant. So each and every office you are getting into, you need to have some connection. And as a youth, most of us, first you have to look at how many youth have graduated, how many youth are ready to get that employment. And those who are ready to get that employment, they don't have that connection to get the employment. And then those youth who have the papers, let's say the employment rate in Kenya is very low. So the employment opportunity for the youth is not that high. And sometimes the government is opting to go for those people who have the experience, those people who are out there, those elderly people. Because you get some of them have even retired, but they are still being taken, yes, they are getting back the jobs that they used to do, or they are getting fixed into other departments. So the youth don't have that much to get. They don't get those jobs. So instead, the jobs are being given to those elderly who have the experience. They ought to go for experience rather than going for the fresh graduates who already have the papers. Yeah.
Do you believe that the current administration, or rather government, is able to sort out the challenges youths are facing regarding employment?
No. The current regime is not able to face those challenges, and it's not even really solving them. In fact, we can't rely on global employment. You can't go look for employment out there. Yes, you get the employment. We have opportunities out there. But how many people have the passports? How many people have the visas to get out of the country and go and get those employment? And how many people have that money to get out there and get the employment? And let's say they have the employment opportunities are there in other countries. So how many youth can go out there and get the employment? The government can go and negotiate on behalf of the people from other nations, saying that maybe you have employment opportunities. Let's say, for example, in Australia, the employment opportunities are there. But are they going to cater for the needs of these people to travel from this country, from Kenya, to go to Australia and get the employment? Are they going to cater for the needs of those people who are going there? Let's say in terms of getting shelter, in terms of getting food, in some accommodation basically, and the fare to get the transportation costs to get to the other nations. So it becomes a challenge to those people who don't have the funds. Yeah.
So, Livingston, are you a registered Kenyan voter?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Now, in a scale of 0 to 10, how can you rate President William Ruto of Kenya?
0 to 10. I'll rate him at an average score of 5. Yeah, he's not really doing that much, and he's not really not doing anything. At least he's doing something, but it's not that much to solve the crisis being faced by the Kenyans and the youth and of course everybody. Yeah. So
now, in the first 2-3 years of his administration, do you really believe that he's going to deliver on his manifesto to Kenyans?
No, he's not really going to deliver. He promised so much that maybe he promised too much that he couldn't achieve. At first I tend to think that maybe he thought that maybe getting this job, it will be an easy job, maybe to get everything work. But it is not that easy getting everything work, because it needs some other departments, it needs some other people who can help him and carry out all these activities. And he is that one man who tend to believe that maybe he has control over everything, and maybe he doesn't trust anybody. So taking everything onto himself, it becomes a challenge, because you need some people to help you grow the economy. You need some people to get that advice. You can't rely on your own advice at all times. You can't rely on your everything at all times. Relying on yourself, so it becomes a bit very difficult for you to achieve everything that you ever wanted to achieve.
Maybe my last question.
Yes.
Do you really believe that in Kenya we have seen two communities leading the country since independence? Do you think that it's time that as Kenyans try another person outside the two?
I will say, we are living in a democratic world. We are living in a democratic country. And living in a democratic country, of course, the tyranny of numbers works. So those who have the numbers will obviously take the day. Those who have the best, who have the convincing power will obviously take the day. And but in our democracy has really failed us because corruption is everywhere. And we tend to get that maybe during politics, during elections, we are not guided by the democratic rules and principles, but we are being led by the corruption powers, and those who have the numbers take it. So our democracy is still low, and our election rules need to be revised. We need to look into ourselves. We need to look at the constitution and maybe think of how best we can deal with corruption. All the start of all problems in this country is corruption. So we should just deal with corruption first, and maybe we need someone who can really give in, and who can really give in dealing with corruption. Really fight it, not just talk with the mouth and maybe you are not acting. You can't preach water and take wine. So we really need to change on how we deal with issues.